Good afternoon, friends.
Good afternoon.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Welcome to the first online town hall meeting of IS Techty. Basically the aim is that all the members of IS Techty and also those engineers who want to become the members of IS Techty, they might be having some doubts in their minds about IS Techty. What is the objective of the IS Techty? What is the membership requirement, how to become the member, what are the benefits of becoming the member, and similarly there are various several professional issues with which we struggle in our profession. So many of us have doubts in their mind. So this will be an interactive session, and we have a panel of experts here, those who are very experienced in their profession as well as they are very experienced and in the association and professional matters as well. So let me first introduce our panelist. We have Professor Mahesh Tandon. Mahesh Tandon is a well-known structural consultant, basically dealing with bridges, and he is also the past president of IS Takti. Then we have Alok Bhamik. Alok Bhamik is also a very senior structural consultant involved with the bridge designs, and he's also past president of IS Takti. He's also chairman of the professional events committee, which is the committee responsible for organizing this event. And then we have Dr. Abhay Gupta. Dr. Abhay Gupta is also a very renowned structural consultant. He is dealing with buildings, and he is also the governing council member and treasurer of the association. And we have Mr. Vipul Ahuja. Vipul Ahuja is a very learned structural consultant dealing with buildings and retrofitting. And he's based in Delhi, and he's a very senior governing council member of IS Takti. So we have a very eminent panelist today. So the format will be we will have a briefing about some of the issues, some of the important issues which we mentioned in our announcement, and then after that, and everyone will get around 5 minutes to brief you about those issues, and then we have received some questions through email. So we will take those questions first, and our panelists will try to answer those questions. And thereafter, we will take questions live. If you want to ask some question, you can ask the question in question and answer session in box. You can type it, and also if you want to ask it live, you can simply raise your hand on this, and we will permit you to ask the questions, and then our panelist will answer the question. So I hope this session will be very useful session for all participants, particularly the young engineers, and it will clear many of their doubts. Okay, so with this, I think we should start the event. Vikas, can you share the presentation? Okay, so let me begin. As you know, the association, the Indian Association of Structural Engineers, that is very popularly known as IA Struct E, is basically a purely professional learned society, and our all activities are basically devoted to the development of the structural engineering profession in India. We as such have no commercial objective or aim, so we do not do any commercial activity. This is purely a charitable organization for the interest of the engineering profession at large. And it was started in 2002, and Mr. Mahendra Raj, the legendary structural engineer of India, who very sadly died this month, 8th of May. He was the founder, president of this association. He initiated this association in 2002, and it is a registered society under the Registration Act of 1860, and its membership is restricted to structural engineers who have proven competence and credibility in the engineering profession. We want a large number of engineers to become the member, but we are little choosy because we want only the structural engineers who are active in the profession to become the member. So it is slightly different from other association who many of the associations are very broad based association, but we are very focused association. So the aim of the association is to exchange knowledge and to advance the practice of structural engineering worldwide in the service of the profession. So basically, a prominent trust area of ISTRACTI to ensure that our members have the up-to-date knowledge about structural engineering. They are up-to-date about the BIS standards and all those things. So we very regularly organize technical events, webinars, seminars in online, offline mode, technical discussions, and all those activities. We invite very experts, rather even international experts also to our events. Our activities and events are basically known for very high quality technical content, and they are very focused events, and most of the people will like these events and they want to participate in large numbers. So now many people ask why we should become the member of ISTRACTI and what are the benefits of becoming the member of the ISTRACTI. So membership of ISTRACTI is basically a public acknowledgement of your holding a recognized education qualification. So you might be having a BTech, MTech or PhD degree, but if you are a member of a professional body like ISTRACTI, this is a public acknowledgement. Just you have a qualification, you have a required experience to perform, to work as a structural consultant. This is a public acknowledgement. So because we scrutinize each and every application through membership committee, and they go each and every application in detail. So whenever whoever becomes a member, he can people really acknowledge that. So now by joining the association, you will be in close proximity with many engineering specialists and committed experts. So when we will participate in any seminar, workshop, or any technical event, you will definitely come in contact with senior consultant or engineers, and you will have a networking. You will develop a kind of a bond. You will have a kind of relationship that will benefit you in understanding, increasing your knowledge as well as in your career profession. So membership of ISTRACTI enables you to easy and convenient access to continuing education courses which we conduct. You get privilege in joining them. You get the discounts in the joining fees also. So there's a lot of benefits in joining ISTRACTI if you really want to be very active and up to date in your profession. Next, Vikas. Now, various professional activities programs organized by ISTRACTI open up an opportunity to you to interact with other professionals. And membership of ISTRACTI is also considered valuable by many engineering organizations, institutions, and authorities, because after 22 years, ISTRACTI has established itself as a name in the profession. So many government bodies and association and engineering organizations do value the engineers who have this membership of ISTRACTI. So it will help you in becoming the membership. So membership grades, and as you know, this information is also available on the website. You can go through it. Basically, we have various kind of grades: fellow, member, and then associate member, and then student member. So each membership is based on the age. The qualification, the minimum qualification is bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and then there's the age limit for fellow member. There's a 42 years for member, because for member previously for member it is 32 years, and then for associate member is 22 years, student member is 20 years. So basically, similarly, there's a requirement of the design experience requirement. For example, for a fellow grade, you need to have a 20 years of experience. For membership, for member grade, you need to have 10 years of experience. So basically, when we say experience, we say relevant experience. And further, out of 20 years for fellow, we want 10 years of experience into the design. of in the important position, at the responsible position. Similarly, for member, we say 10 years total experience, total professional experience, and then out of that, 5 years should be in the design of major structural engineering works in responsible position. Similarly, for associate member, we want you to be basically a civil engineer or structural engineer, but you must be engaged in design of structural engineering work. No requirement for experience, but you should be engaged in structural engineering work. For student member, those who are member of those who are students in any recognized engineering colleges, they can become the member of the association as student member. So basically, after these categories, fellow members as well as member, they become the corporate member of the association. Corporate member means you can get elected to any position, you can vote, and this is the requirement for corporate. So those two will be called as corporate member of the association. Okay, so if you want to know how to join IAS Shakti, it is very simple. This form is available online on the website. You can download it, you can fill it, you can fill the application online, you can also submit offline. All the requirements are given. Basically, you have to fill the form, you have to submit the CV, you have to list the number of projects, list of the projects which you have handled in the past previous years. And you have to also give the detail of 2 projects in detail. What is the design approach you followed and all those things. And you have to attach the experience and qualification certificates. You also need to have 3 supporters for your applications. So all the requirements are given, just fill the forms, and then our membership committee will review it, scrutinize it. If there's any deficiency, they will notify you. After that, there will be a interaction meeting. At present, we are having it in offline mode. Maybe sometime it may be in, present is online mode. Maybe in future we can have online mode. So after that, the recommendation membership committees forwarded to the governing council, and governing council finally take a decision on it, and then you will be notified about that. And you have to pay a fee. Fee is also given on the website. You can go through it. Not a very large fee, is a very nominal fee. You can also become the life member of the association. So this is basically about the association and about becoming a member. So we will take other questions related to this later on. Whatever questions you will have, we will answer it. Now, there are various professional matters which we will discuss, and we will answer your questions regarding all those things. So first one is regarding registration, licensing issues, and the National Building Code. So basically, this is nothing but basically when you may be a qualified engineer, maybe having a degree or master's or PhD in civil structural engineering, you may be the member of the association, and then thereafter, if you really want to do the practice, or you want to work independently in anywhere in India, so there are various kind of requirements. Ultimately, there is no central act of the legislation. There's no engineer's bill. Professor Tandon will speak on it. But there are many municipal corporations, local bodies, state governments or departments. They want you to get registered with them. They also issue the license to work. And so this is basic. See, the urban development is basically a local subject, and it comes under state subject. So ultimately the local governments, the municipal corporation, development authorities, they take decision on it. So they have their own building bylaws, and they have their own requirements. They have their own qualification and competence for various professionals to issue the certificates, and they authorize them who can do what kind of work. So ultimately, according to those requirements, you have to register in those bodies, and also you have to take the license in some. There's no uniform pattern in India. There may be lakhs of municipal corporation and local bodies. Each one will have a different kind of a requirement. Their qualification, competence will also not be uniform. That may also vary. Haryana will have a different. Noida will have a different, Delhi will have a different. So there may be there's at some place you will find they are doing some empanelment at some place, and they are They are saying registration is required. At some places, they are issuing the license to work. And then, so there is there's no coherence actually. So this becomes a problem for many of the engineers, because ultimately, if you are a licensed engineer in a particular municipal corporation or local a body, probably you find a difficulty in working in some other body many times. So it depends how the situation happens. But the thing is, we also have a National Building Code of India, which is a code which is prepared by the Bureau of Indian Standards. And Bureau of Indian Standards in the National Building Code, they have a chapter, a part two. It is the National Building Code is the various parts. There's a part two which is called administration. Administration is basically is about how the National Building Code will be used, how it will be used, and what are the requirements for that, who will use it, how to use it. And it also in part two, it also gives the qualification and competence of various professionals who are supposed to follow the National Building Code of India. Okay, so it gives qualification competence of architects, the site engineers, the structural engineers, the geotechnical engineers. So all those professionals, it gives a qualification competence. So similarly for structural engineers, in this slide you can see this has been reproduced from the National Building Code. So for the structural engineer, the definition they have given in the National Building Code of India is that the minimum qualification for a structural engineer shall be the graduate in civil engineering of recognized Indian or foreign university or corporate member of civil engineering division of Institute of Engineers, and with a minimum 3 years of experience in structural engineering practice with designing and field work. So if you are a graduate in civil engineering and you have a 3 years of experience of working in structural design work, then you will be called as, you can be called as structural engineer. And if you have a master's degree, then you must have 2 years of experience. If you have a doctorate in structural engineering, then still you need to have 1 year of experience. This is a requirement given in National Building Code. Now, National Building Code of India, this code usually are made by the experts, and being the representation, which has a representation from all over India, from different stakeholders. And after a lot of debates and inviting the comments and all those things, it is finalized. So it is applicable all over India. But the thing is, National Building Code or any BI standard is not a mandatory code. These are the recommendatory code. They become mandatory when they are notified in the building bylaws, then it becomes a mandatory. And most of the bylaws says that all structural design, this and that, shall be done as yeah. But when it comes to these provisions, they modify in their bylaws. So ultimately, some of the authorities follow this, some authorities modify this according to their requirement, or just or on some other ground. So it leads to a lot of confusion and problems. So this is about the registration and all those things. So I think I have completed this, and I think after that we can take questions on it, because I know there will be several questions on these issues. Next issue will be is Engineers Bill history and the present status. It will be briefed by Professor Mahesh Tandon. Professor Tandon, you can now make the presentation on it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mittal. And good afternoon, friends. So I'm going to talk about the Engineers Bill, its history and present status. Also about why it is necessary to have an Engineers Bill. Even that is going to be covered in my presentation. Next one, please. So historically, a committee under the chairmanship of S.G. Barve was set up by the Planning Commission in February 1966 to study issues concerning technical consultancy services. The committee's report, submitted in 1970, recommended, in order to develop the profession on healthy lines, to avoid undesirable elements, practices, there should be an all India institution on the lines of the Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants, to lay proper standards of education, experience, capability, capacity, etc. These were the objectives that were laid down. The report further recommended that legislation could be undertaken to make it a legal entity parallel to the Institute of Chartered Accountants, which had been set up in 1949. In recent time, Mr. Mahinder Raj, our founder president, had taken up the issue since it had not made much progress since the submission of the Barve report. Next one, please. Now, in most countries like Australia, Canada, Japan, Malaysia, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, South Africa, Singapore, Tanzania, USA, etc., professions such as engineers are invariably governed by an act of the government or parliament. In India too, some organizations like that of chartered accountants, doctors, architects, and lawyers are governed by acts of parliament. Next one, please. Now, all this and what are the challenges facing the civil and structural engineering fraternity in India was published in a paper in the Indian National Group of IABSE or Indian Association of Bridge, International Association of Bridge and Structural Engineering, and this was reprinted in the Structural Engineering Digest of IA Shakti. And if anybody wants a copy of this paper, which lays down what the problems are and what the profession is facing, have been and what are the solutions, all that has been written in this paper. Next one, please. Now, what is the current status and why do we want to have the engineers bill and what is in our interest? The first thing is, like Mr. Mittal mentioned, you have got a plethora of organizations. You may have municipalities, you may have cities, you may have states which require you to register. And only then you can practice structural engineering as far as their narrow field is concerned. Like if it is a building in Delhi, you have to follow the municipal corporation of Delhi, whatever their rules and regulations are, pay a fee there to them every year, and you have to register with them before you can sign on any drawings or anything like that. Now, once you have the engineer's bill, it is recognized firstly all over India, just like the chartered accountants or the architects. They don't have to register again and again. It's one-time registration with the whichever is the body which governs it, and you have an automatic license to practice structural engineering anywhere in India. So that is the big advantage of having an engineer's bill, because without an engineer's bill with the stamp of the parliament, you cannot really come up to whatever I mentioned about being able to practice anywhere, so long as you have the qualification. Now, what is the current status? I am again leapfrogging several years and bringing you up to 2021. Dr. Sridharan, whose name I think everybody knows, he wrote a letter to the Prime Minister about the licensing of engineers through Professional Engineers Bill. He said, on the above subject, I had approached you with my letter number so and so, copy enclosed, based on which there was some fast action by Ministry of Human Resource Development and AICTE. Now it is learned the Professional Engineers Bill has been cleared by AICTE and lying with the Ministry of Education. Earlier, it was called Ministry of Human Resource Development for nearly 1 year. Sir, you have decided to invest some 100 lakh crores on infrastructure development, for which very capable and dependable licensed engineers are needed by the country. I would therefore humbly request you to direct the Ministry of Education to table the Professional Engineer Bill in the next session of the Parliament itself and get the same enacted at the earliest. With profound respect, yours sincerely, Dr. Sridhar. So this was written, I think, sometime late in 2021, October 21, if to be exact. And the reply that we got from the Ministry of Education in reference to your letter number so and so, this is to inform you that All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, had conducted a had considered a committee under the chairmanship of Professor M.S. Anand, former director of IIT Madras, for drafting the Professional Engineers Bill. The committee submitted the draft bill to the AICTE and is lying with the MHRD. So they also are well aware of what has happened, and they are just telling us what we already know. The bill was examined in the ministry, which proposed to set up a 27-member Indian Professional Engineers Council, because this professional bill, just to keep you up to date, it consists of all the disciplines, not only structural and civil engineers. It covers every type of engineering that exists and is recognized by AICTE. So it had a 27-member Indian Professional Engineers Council and a 12-member board to look after the functioning of the council. IPEC, which is the Indian Professional Engineers Council, further also proposed to create multiple members of licentiate member organizations with the authority to regulate the profession. This is where organizations like IAS Shakti would come in. They may be the part of the members of this 27-member Indian Professional Engineers Council, as well as they may be a member of the 12-member board, but basically to regulate the profession. We are one of the organizations who can regulate the profession. This is what the proposal of Professor M.S. Anand was when he submitted his report. Now, I will not read the middle part. Let me come to the bottom line. It was accordingly decided. Let me read the first sentence. This is important. The relevance of the proposed bill was also examined in the light of the new education policy 2020, which is now in force. The NEP 2020 envisages setting up of Higher Education Commission of India, of which National Higher Education Regulatory Council will be a vertical. So what they are trying to say is that whatever has gone on is fine, but now in 2020, there is the new education policy, which has got different objectives. And there is a vertical there, which is charged with the responsibility of all such matters. So, whereas before this new education policy came in, we had reached very far. The bill draft was already submitted and it was about to be sent to the parliament when suddenly this new education policy 2020 came into being. And they say because of that, we have to hold it. Now let me read the last paragraph. It was accordingly decided that Higher Education Commission of India and Higher Education Regulatory Council itself be first formed. All concerned regarding the regulation of the profession of engineering through the proposed bill would be addressed by the proposed structure of the Higher Education Council of India and etc. So what they are trying to say is that all the work that has been done since the Barve Committee report from 1960s till now, 2021, all that has been put in cold storage. It will be considered, but it will be decided by under the new education policy of 2020. So really speaking, unless that policy comes into real force and they make proper verticals and they tell us who is to be responsible for this this area, very essential area of professionalism in the country, nothing much is going to happen. This is the long and short of it. I'm very sad to say that after years and years of struggle, this is where we are at the moment. But structural engineers don't give up easily. And we are going to follow this up, follow the government regulations. Whenever this policy, more information is known, we will follow it up with them and try and see how we can bring the professionalism and regulation in our profession. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tanda Sahab. Now we will have more discussion on it during the question answer. Next issue is professional liability issue. This is a very new upcoming issue, and Mr. Vipul Ahuja will brief on it. Vipul?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this whole professional liability issue dawns upon you after, several years of service, because as a young enthusiastic engineer, starting your own firm, you are more worried about survival than your liability. So, and unfortunately, we find that as you get more senior in the profession, anybody who does any work is bound to make mistakes. And so far, the environment was that all mistakes were buried. But unfortunately, we are now finding, now the environment has changed. The new RERA Act has come up. Now with this RERA Act, we find that anyone can file a complaint. Even if it's something as trivial as a waterproofing problem in a development, they may file a complaint to have a structural audit because some corrosion problem happened. Now that leads to maybe even a structural audit, which includes a proof check of the design. Now the designer may have already finished the job 10 years ago, but there's no limit to that. Now, if they are in business at that time, they would still be obligated to reply to the questions raised by the proof checker and whoever checks the building at that time. So you see, you have got a liability for life in a way, and there is no protection. Even the insurances are not geared, and I'll show you on the next slide also. So in that way, your liability has significantly increased. You can see even from the recent collapse that happened, you know, the structural engineers, you know, not only, you know, were asked to go underground for some time, you know, because they don't, the law doesn't look at structural engineers as being, you know, as not being guilty until proven so. They are guilty from day one. So the builder, the structural engineer, the architect, everybody goes in jail if there's a collapse. So I mean, having been so dedicated to your profession, and you know, being prone to these kind of mistakes, so to say, it becomes a very tall order on a structural engineer's you know, mental well-being also, that they you know, to operate in this environment under this pressure, that they can be attacked at any time, and you know, the let alone deriving satisfaction from your work, you then go into the mode of, you know, trying to defend yourself at all times. So not only do we have to you know, mold ourselves, our practices to this new environment, we must create an ecosystem of the insurances also, which provide for this new environment where, you know, we can work very free. And you know, the other day there was a seminar that association had organized, and where a gentleman from Singapore had been talking about, you know, liability insurance at retirement. So I asked my insurance agent in India, and he said there's no such thing in India at all. So when a person retires, you know, he is under constant threat that, you know, for whether, I don't know, even for the next generation, he may leave some liability. So we have to be very careful in this environment as to how we conduct our practice. Perhaps we can have more checks and balances within the organization first, have your own checks so that the mistakes are minimized. You know, have a proof checker who hopefully diligently also checks the work, and then leave it to God. And then, you know, even despite that, you know, somebody may complain because of some other problem which is not your, that was not caused by you, but, you know, they throw questions at you and, you know, paint you guilty. And you don't have to respond sometimes. So let's go to the next slide, Lucas. So like I said, you know, there even waterproofing problems can lead to a structural audit. Then, you know, at the end of the project, these days the builders are asking structural engineers to sign an indemnity bond, which covers their legal costs totally and any such damage. And, you know, there is no limit of liability that is put on the structural engineer. In fact, recently, I, from my own experience, saw one indemnity bond that I was being asked to complete, to fill out. And I said, why should I take the risk? You know, why shouldn't I pass on the risk to the insurance? And I gave it to my insurance agent, and he said, this thing is not insurable. I mean, I was dumbfounded, and I said, well, you know, if you can't insure it, how, you know, that means I should lose my sleep over signing this indemnity bond. That means, you know, how can I pass on this risk? So he said that you have to limit it to some number, you know, whatever number it is, you have to limit it to that. So, and I said, okay, I'll limit it to, let's say, 25% of my fees or something. And the builder finally relented, and he said, no, it can't be 25%, it has to be 100% of my fees. Now imagine if every fourth job, there's a lawsuit. That means I'll lose one complete fees of professional fees on one project out of every 4 projects. You know, so it is just it's a daunting thing we're looking at, and a very big deterrent for new people who may be coming in. You know, they're naive, and then they get stuck in this kind of a quicksand. So I think as responsible structural engineers, we should definitely change our environment so that, this trap is not left open for the future generations. So, and then also, like if we are asked to sign a structural stability certificate, the builders are in a big rush. They say, no, 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 even if the building is not completed, maybe it is 90% done, you give us a structural stability certificate. And the reason is very simple. Because you, as a structural engineer, we can blackmail them that unless they make the final payment, we will not sign the structural certificate. Then if they ask us to, and if we relent and we sign, and somebody goes and reports that, look, this building was not even completed by that date and he signed the structural stability certificate, I'm guilty of, misleading the public, because he's going to sell his spaces based on my structural stability certificate that I got a sign from the structural engineer that it is safe. And somebody goes to report it to RERA that the building is not completed and the structural stability certificate is signed. Now I am in a trap, and my next payment will not be released unless I sign my structural stability certificate. So, either ways I am damned. So like I said, we have to change the situation where we cannot and should not fall into these things. Okay, because professionally we have to survive, and legally we have to survive. And then a lot of times, without even having involvement in the project, sometimes we tend to sign off or get somebody's signature because of one thing or the other. Then that becomes a problem also. And there has been instances in the past like this, where you trust somebody that, they've done a great job, and in good faith you sign off, and then there's some problem, and again you land up in jail. So that is, that is something that is really not on. It is something to be totally avoided. Next slide, please.
Okay. Thank you, Vipul.
Okay.
Now,
so I have one more small slide.
Okay.
The insurance issue. So I thought I'll briefly show what information I have from my insurance agent in a way, and this is commonly available probably in the public domain also. So the professional indemnity insurance is available, for errors and omissions, and public liability insurance, that is called the third party insurance, that is available for bodily injury and property damage. And each of these above is available for claims made, that is during the project, and the word claims made is quote unquote. And then the second one is occurrence based, and that is for the life, for your life until you, until you live probably. And then there's no retro insurance. That means today, if I want to buy an umbrella insurance for my past projects, I can't. And there's no blanket retirement insurance either. Next one. I think that's all the. So with that, I'd like to thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you, Vipul. Now I will like to invite Dr. Abhay Gupta. He will just brief about the structural stability certificate, because they are also a problematic issue for structural consultants.
Mr. Mittal, can I just put in a word here?
Yes, sir.
You see, what Mr. Vipul Ahuja has mentioned, all these are the problems that, or some of the problems that the profession is facing. If we had an engineer's bill, it is not so easy to just say that, if the waterproofing is sort of bad, and that is called that the structural engineer is responsible, or many of the things that he mentioned, that they are asking you to sign a bond which covers their legal fees in case something happens. I mean, all these are issues which can be resolved only if we had a proper engineer's bill and we become a recognized profession. At the moment, engineering is not a recognized profession like architects or like chartered accountants, etc. That is why all this mayhem is taking place. and we hope that Monday we will get the engineer's bill and all these things will be set right.
Yes,
So
sir.
I just wanted to tell you that this is one side of it, but don't think that this is all the structural engineering profession is all about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Abhay Gupta.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Manoj. And welcome, friends. We are discussing some of the very relevant issues with regard to the structural engineering profession. And all the participants who might be having several curiosities, many of you are young practicing professionals, and many times we are being asked to issue the structural stability certificate. There are various stages when the structural stability certificate is to be issued by consultant, and there are formats also prescribed by some of the authorities. As such, membership of the association or being a member of the association does not bind us from following any particular format. However, this is such a sensitive issue that a uniform format or a commonly agreed language should be used, and which association certainly can help the young ones in declaring a particular building or this issuing a structural stability. From my experience, I'll share that one pre-construction stability certificate is being asked by many of the authorities when the approval maps are being submitted. And then the authorities are asking that a structural engineer certificate should also be submitted along with that. Very clearly that mandates that we only need to give that the design will be carried out as per so and so standards, norms and practices. So the language has to very clearly said that the structural design of such a stability of the building will be performed according to the prescribed codes. If it's a building as per the Indian code, then Indian code, and some of the steel buildings in our country are still being designed as per other country codes. So relevant codes should be mentioned along with the loads and all those things. That particular certificate which is issued pre-construction stage cannot mention or certify the construction quality or the constructed stability of the structure. Then the second stability certificate which is submitted at the time of the CC, that is the completion certificate of the project, that time again there is a format, and in some of the local bodies that certificate also asks for a statement that I have supervised the construction. So be careful that since as a structural consultant of the project, we are only responsible for the structural design and drawings, and unless and until as a practicing as a professional you have taken the responsibility of continuous monitoring of a project, unless and until you have checked the ingredients which are used, unless and until you have regularly supervised the construction, supervision stability should never be established, should never be certified. So again, a stability certificate post construction at the time of the completion certificate should specifically mention that based on a confirmation from the PMC or client or the project team, which you must obtain separately, that the building has been constructed strictly as per the drawings issued from your office. Unless and until you get a letter from the client side stating this particular fact, a certificate, stability certificate in the post-construction stage should never be issued. We always make it a point that we first take a letter from the client or the PMC that all the drawings, all the details which have been issued from our office have been followed. They confirm that yes, they have been, then only we issue. And then the stability certificate mentions this particular line that this is subject to the confirmation. So that is the second point, which the stability certificate, which is post-construction, should highlight. In no way the stability certificate guarantees any confirmation with the rules, regulation and bylaws. So that should also be made very clear that this stability certificate does not confirm the building to be in conformity with the local bylaws, rules and regulations. It is only a certificate of stability of the structural design. That is the thing. Now, beyond that, NBC also requires that buildings should be regularly checked and their health should be ascertained. And after regular interval, they should be certified, the structural stability of the old building, though it is not followed strictly in our country, but that stability certificate of the periodic time interval, say after 15 years or after 30 years or after a certain age, after every 5 years, like that, those stability certificate after proper due diligence about the health of the structure should be issued. So maybe those things come in practice, and our professional practice and the building health improves. So these are some of the aspects which related to the structural stability certificate from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abhay Gupta. We will have a lot of questions on it. We will discuss it. And then now many people ask how to set up our own independent consultancy in structural engineering, and what is a career at structural engineering. So Alok Bhaumik will brief you about that very briefly. Alok, you are muted. Unmute karo. Yes.
Thank you, Manoj. Good evening to all. I think the stage is set by panelists giving views. Professor Mahesh Tandon talking about the challenges in engineers bill. Then Mr. Vipul Ahuja talking about the challenges and the kind of liability and the risks that we structural engineers face in the profession. And also about the stability certificates by Dr. Abhay Gupta. Despite all these challenges, I think the profession of structural engineering is an extremely fascinating profession in my view. And let me start. Vikas, can you put the next slide, please? Yeah. So let me first mention that structural engineering is a profession and not a business. And I need to distinguish here. A profession and a business are different. I mean, business is an activity where people sell goods or services, and the results are measured in terms of monetary benefits. While the profession is an activity where we work with our knowledge and skill and for the betterment of the society. So we structural engineers work for the betterment of the society, and this fundamental point needs to be there in our head. We are here, we are designing structures which deals with public. We are actually responsible for the safety of the built habitat, and therefore all these professional liability and the engineers bill are so very essential, because we can't afford to do mistakes. So let me come to the first part of my question as to why choose structural engineering as a career. Next, please. So basically, there are 4 points. It's a noble profession. We structural engineers make lasting impression on the society. We make the world safer, and we are a respected professionals in the society. These are good enough reasons for us to choose structural engineering. Why it is a noble profession? Because we serve the humanity. There are reasons why these structures are standing. You imagine when you get up from the bed, and you are building, you are living, the roads that you travel, the office or the school or the institution where you go for studying or working, they are all made by structural engineers. So therefore, imagine the role and responsibility that we have. Why we make a lasting impression on the society? As a tourist, whenever you go around the globe, even if you go within the country in some other place, the tourist spots that you are looking for are all structural engineering marvels. You go to San Francisco, you see Golden Gate Bridge. You go to Sydney, you see the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Or you go to New York and you definitely see Brooklyn Bridge. All these are structural engineering marvels. So we definitely are making a lasting impression to the society, and therefore we have a huge responsibility, and we also are trusted by the society to create a sustainable world. So therefore, keeping that in mind, the the points raised by Professor Mahesh Tandon about the importance of engineers bill and about the professional liability are all very clear and relevant. Now, let me come to the next question, that is on what are the basic requirements of structural engineers to practice, what all you need. Next, please. So mainly there are four things I would say. One is education, second is training, skills and licensing. I will not cover the last part because that has been very well covered by Professor Mahesh Tandon. As far as education is concerned, you need to have a minimum BE or a BTech degree, but I would say that nowadays post-graduation is certainly desirable, and further research, if you have on a specific subject, will also give you an added value if you want to go for a specialization. So therefore, a higher education more than the minimum requirement is always an add-on as far as structural engineering is concerned. As far as training is concerned, continuous professional development is a must in a structural engineering career. You learn till the end of your service life. So therefore, you continue. Even today, we all are learning. I mean, learning process never goes because you have to be continuously updated with the technological and scientific development that is taking place around us. Only then you can provide a service to the public at large. In terms of skill, you need to have good analytical and problem-solving skills. You need to have good, strong mathematical ability. Computer literacy is a must nowadays. A grasp of physics, the basic, sigma x 0, sigma y statics is very, very important. Three-dimensional conceptual skills. You should be able to visualize things. From the drawing, you should be able to make out how it works and what are the problems. Good oral and written communication skills are also very much required. And above all, interpersonal skills and teamwork ability is absolutely essential because you need to have a leadership, sort of traits if you want to be in the profession. The third point which I wanted to make next, Vikas, is what is needed for setting up an independent professional practice. Well, next. So there are 4 points again. You need to know your niche area or your domain expertise. You have to have domain expertise in some areas of specialization if you want to start on your own. This is my thinking. There are several specialties within the structural engineering, and choosing a particular niche area can help definitely, to make clients and to increase your clientele as an expert in the field. Being a generalist, you will have more challenges if you start on your own. Second, you need to work on in your domain. You must work. This is the fundamental code of ethics that we all need to follow. And in fact, it's embedded in all the professional associations like IS Shakti in our code of ethics. Third, you always focus on providing a high quality service. That's absolutely essential. You must bring in the issue of the sustainability, climate change, this irrespective of whether the clients need or not. This is the need of the society. And if you want to succeed in the long run, you need to show a highest level of ethics and integrity in the manner in which you deliver the projects. I think that's all. Thank you. Vikas, is there anything left there? No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj.
Okay, so basically, our panelists have briefed you on certain professional issues, and now we will take the questions. We invited questions from our participants. So we have received some of the questions through emails. We will take those first. We will answer it, and then we have received some. We are receiving some questions in question answer box. So we will take them also. If there is some time, we will take more live questions. So now, Vikas, show the questions. Okay, so first question is, can IAS Shakti membership certificate help to get the government projects? Alok, can you answer it?
See, at present, there is nothing like that IAS Shakti, is recognized by the institutions, and it's nothing like that. But certainly, in last couple of years, whether it is in writing or not, but IS Shakti has made a dent. And most of the people in the structural engineering circle and in the government institutions, they indirectly do recognize, and therefore it may indirectly help. But as of now, I don't think it will help securing formally any government projects.
Yeah, basically any government project will have their own requirement. They will specify what kind of qualification, experience requirements are required from consultant. So you have to qualify according to that. They may also have the requirement that you should be a member of a professional body or something. Their ISTT membership can help you, but otherwise, I don't think that will directly help you in
One
getting.
institution of engineers membership is even not mentioned in any of the government projects. So
Right.
IIS Struct is number two.
So basically, practically the answer is no.
No.
Okay. Second question is,
if I may add, Mr.
Yeah,
Can I
Dhanasam.
just add one sentence?
Yes, sir.
Let us say there are two candidates with equal competence, capability, etc., and both of them can get a particular job. Definitely, somebody who has shown interest in getting membership of an association like the IS Shakti means that he is not only trying to get a job, he is trying to also continue his journey in the profession through continuing education, etc. And these can be provided only by associations like IS Shakti. So, all things being equal, it will have a weightage. But
Yes.
if you say just on the basis of an IS Shakti certificate, you will get the job, no.
Yes, true. So you will get an edge, but you will not get the job simply because of that. Okay. So are we eligible to sign the structural stability certificate after getting the membership? Abhay Gupta, Dr. Abhay Gupta?
Eligible to sign the structured certificate after getting the membership. Nowhere this is mentioned as a requirement or qualifying criteria. All required is a graduation degree and post-graduation degree with some experiences. That is all we see in various local body structural stability certificates.
So basically, see, as
So
I was,
whatever are the qualification criteria to become IAS Shakti member, the same or the similar are the criteria for signing the structural stability. So if you are eligible to be a member of IAS Shakti, then certainly you also qualify to sign the structural stability certificate of the local bodies. That I can say.
yeah, basically local bodies will have their own qualification requirements. Somebody will say you have to have graduation in civil engineering, so many years of experience, master's degree with so many years of experience. You can, if you have so much experience, you can sign this kind of a building. With this much experience, you can sign this kind of a building. So you may have those kind of a requirements. But if you are a member of ISTT, it doesn't mean that you can sign the stability certificate. But yes, I have seen that in some of the authorities, if you are a chartered engineer, they recognize that certificate and then they do not ask for anything else. Just because of chartered engineers, you can sign the stability certificate. That is valid in some cases. That's all. Yeah. So, okay. Third question is, can we start practicing as an independent consultant or licensed structural engineer after getting the membership? Alok, can you answer it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, again, I think all these questions are of similar nature. You see, you can, as I mentioned, you can, I mean, whether you have a membership or not, you can start your own practice. But whether, while starting your own practice, whether you will succeed or not, it will help a great deal if you are a member of IAS Shakti because of number of reasons. One reason is that, by the membership of IAS Shakti, you will be in touch with so many, stalwarts or eminent people in the profession. And you will be getting a platform where you can interact with many experts. You can consult these experts with your technical queries, and you can it will help you, it will facilitate you to become a member, a prominent member in the profession. So that way it will definitely help you. But if there is no direct link of you're starting a profession and membership of ISW.
But yes, it will add to your credibility as a professional engineer or as a consultant if you are a member of ISW. So that
But
will.
I should also point
Yeah,
out one thing,
yeah,
that some of the municipalities do not respect any foreign degrees which don't use the word structural engineering in your master's or bachelor curriculum.
yes.
Bachelor's not obviously, but master's, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very major stumbling block at this time, because many people have their masters from the US, for example, and they don't, nowhere in the US any college states the word structural on their master's degree. They just say MS in civil engineering. So that becomes you might check one thing as to how you're going to get around that if you're going to go to some of the municipalities.
Yeah. So this is the problem with our municipal corporations and the building bylaws. And we at ISST try to are always at forefront. We always try to get it rectified, but we have our own limitations, and you know how the government system works basically. So this is a problem.
So no, that's one of the things that when you go and get into practice, and if you have that situation, then and you have somebody, let's say your subordinate or somebody lined up to sign that structural stability certificate, in case that municipality calls up, says that your signature is not valid or your credentials are not valid, then you're in trouble, because and then later on somebody complains to RERA that this person was not even working on the project and he signed on the job, then you are you're basically in trouble.
Yes. Okay, next question is also related to that only. Can ISST members be directly empaneled with the government authorities as structural engineer? I don't think so. Membership doesn't take you automatically, you will not be empaneled. There will be requirement of empanelment and you have to apply for that and you have to satisfy those requirements. It may help you, that's all. So then is ISST help the members to solve their problems related to design faced by them? Okay, Tanda Saab, can you answer this?
I think when you become a member of the ISST, you will be in touch with so many people who are in the profession for a long time. And if you have not already increased your knowledge about, after attending so many continuing education programs of the association, you will at least know people whom to go to. If you have an issue of a technical nature, how to resolve that, you can always consult your seniors, and that is something which is available to you. It depends only on your your relationship with the association and its members. But the association provides you that opportunity.
Yes. Once you become the member, you get to know each other members, you get to know the senior members, you can develop some kind of a networking relationship. And then if you have some kind of a technical problem in your profession, then you will be able to discuss that. I don't think there will be any problem for that. But as such, ISST do not have any institutional mechanism in place to resolve such issues. But members can directly interact with each other. Yes. Okay, so next question. Vikas, जरा ऊपर करो उसको क्या है ये दिख नहीं रहा 6. Is ISST a government recognized professional body? No, it is a society registered under the Society Registration Act, as I said earlier. Okay, Vikas, change the slide.
But I think, Manoj, the one thing we can add here for the association's credibility.
Yeah.
We are the only association in the country where BIS has requested us to be on their lot of their important committees for writing and all that. So why, after all, we are one of the apex national bodies. that they have approached. So that gives some credibility to us that even the government is recognizing us, though indirectly.
Yes. So basically, we are on various committees of BIS, the code formulation, and they invite us. They want our participation, representation in various committees of BIS and also IRC, and so we are into various committees. So that gives the credibility.
Yeah, and and we are one of the very few, if not the only ones, in many committees. In that.
Yeah. And also, we are also a permanent member of Engineering Council of India. So as such, yes, if you are a member of ISTT, you get a lot of support as such, even though we are not a government recognized body. I don't think there is any professional body who is a government recognized body in India. There is no such body. Okay, so now there is some question. Procedure of registering the membership through online can be revised so that new members registration can be easier for getting supporters signature. Alok, you can answer it, I think. Abhay Gupta is not here at present.
Okay, fine. So yes, I think this is one question which I'm seeing that there are so many in the chat box also asking the same question.
And we discussed it yesterday only.
And we discussed it just yesterday and also just 15 minutes before this, town hall meeting. So yes, we recognize this problem, and what we suggest is, if you do not know any supporter for supporting your application, you can contact our secretariat. You can contact, if you know the contact details of the regional vice presidents. We have 4 vice presidents, North, East, West, and South. Then through the regional vice presidents, you can get in contact details of the people around surrounding you. And if you know some of them, you can approach them through email. You don't have to physically go. You can write through email and get the support through email, and that would be recognized. But ultimately, the application must have the requirement of 3 referees is cannot be waived. It will be there, but we can facilitate. We can help you to get those referees. And if you, in fact, even despite that, if we find that otherwise your application is good, then maybe some of us in the membership committee also, after reviewing your application, can support. So that's not an issue at all. That should not be.
Your application will not be rejected if you do not have the supporters. We will try to help you get the supporters, but ultimately supporters will be required. But if you have a good credentials, your application is good application, I'm sure it will not be rejected just because there is no supporters.
Right.
Yeah. And we will definitely try to make it easier through online process. We will take action on it. Then why do we need to get licensing for each and individual state? Why can't we work with one registered license throughout India? I think that question has already been answered by Professor Tandon, because we do not have any Central Engineers Act and registration body or any body to regulate the profession of civil or structural engineering or engineering. So ultimately, there are several local bodies and government departments and all those things. They have their own system procedures, and you have to follow all those things. So this is an issue. So I think this will be an issue. This will be a problem unless until we have a Engineers Act. And after Engineers Act, this problem will be resolved. At present, we have a Gujarat Civil Engineers Act. I think they are also having some issues with that body. I do not know what are the issues, but they also have the issues with that act. So the act which should come, that should also be very comprehensive, very simple, very implementable act. But at present, we do not have an act. That is why this problem is there. Okay. Tanda sir, you want to add something, or I have answered this question?
No, you have answered more or less. I think that you must know that since the Barve report, I think from 1960s, we have been trying to get this legislation passed through the parliament, only then engineering will become a recognized. Engineering is not a recognized profession.
Yes.
So this is a very sad state of affairs. I think if you add up all the professions together, let there be architects, lawyers, chartered accountants, etc. You add all of them in numbers, we are much more than them, and yet we are not covered by an act of the parliament. I mean, that's the current situation, and we can't give up. We have to keep on trying, and one day or the other we'll succeed. And now they are talking about this new education policy 2020. We have to see carefully what it is and which is the vertical which is going to be allotted, which will look into these type of issues, and then we have to convince them that you have to go in this direction, and you can't take forever.
Yes.
So we'll try that.
Yes. Next question is sharing the experience in difficulties which you have engaged in your whole career as a forum. Video or PPT will be most helpful for the upcoming structural engineer. So, Alok, can you throw light on this?
Yeah, you see, we have conducted over the years webinars. We have conducted refresher courses online, but prior to that, this is only in last 2-3 years that we have so many online things. But prior to that, we had physically conducted many seminars and refresher courses. We have compiled all these material, and we are also sort of trying to streamline them and trying to archive it properly. So some of the things which are in the public domain, for example, all YouTube webinars links, they are there in our website, and anybody can access for free. But there are certain things which will be available at a cost, at a reduced cost for the members and at an increased cost for the non-members. So a lot of work is going on in sort of compiling them and archiving them. But we have huge resource material available on several subjects of interest or day-to-day interest, and these materials have a very high value.
Yes. So we have published many guidelines and handbooks, and also regarding this, we are also planning to come up with a document on case studies on failures. I think we have initiated the work on that. So a lot of experience sharing will be there. Okay, next question. So we have why ISTT does not waive off supporters criteria for associate members. I mean, the requirement is only that the person should be engaged with the structural design. Then why supporters to intermediate? And in our country, it is obvious that experts are not as helpful as abroad, so it creates unnecessary waste of time to be part of such a great association. The supporters criteria is okay for members and fellow grade, but for associate grade, it is not at all required. Many freshers do not gain required benefits of associating with ISTT due to this supporter requirement. Again, there's a problem of getting the supporters. Now he's saying that there should not be any requirement of supporters for associate member, because we do not have any experience requirement for associate member. They just have to be engaged in the field of structural engineering. So I think we can think of, but the supporter is still required, because they have to certify that this person is this engineer is engaged in the profession of structural engineering. I think that kind of thing may be required from a supporter. But yes, Alok, what do you want to say?
Yeah, see, you see, when we receive an application for membership, honestly, we do not know that person. It is not only the qualification that forms the criteria for membership. There are several things. So it is a very common practice in all, I think, professional associations, that somebody who is already a member needs to recommend you, or sort of tell that I know this gentleman. So it is, the membership is not merely based on qualification and experience. It is also, that is why the reference is important, that your overall character is also sort of authenticated by someone.
But look, I think from this question, I got an idea that probably we can reduce the number of supporters requirement for associate members from 3 to 2. We can do probably.
We can discuss that in our bylaws committee.
Yeah, we can take this matter to the committee and we can discuss that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. I am licensed structural engineer from municipal corporation. My query is, what is the difference between registration and licensing? Okay, this is a very, very interesting question. So Vipul, can you answer it? Difference between registration and the licensing.
Well, you see, registering is like, you add your name to a roster. Okay, that you are registered over there. But a license is usually something that you earn because of your competence. So this is, in the common language, common man's language, that is the difference. I don't know what the statutes, so far we don't have a licensing regime. So, I think what we have is a registration right now.
So licensing, he has a license, is a licensed structural engineer from municipal corporation, because many
now the thing is, because the municipality probably asks for all the antecedents, all your track records, all those things. So therefore, they have issued a license.
So in my view, license means you are authorized to do that kind of practice. You are authorized.
Yes. Yeah. For example, your driving license, you earn your driving. You are not a registered driver. You are a licensed driver because you have given a skill test.
Yes.
So therefore, we have a corresponding skill test, which is in the form of the employment certificates and all the other antecedents, your qualifications. So that, but yes, this is what we are yearning for in our association, also to be part of the Engineers Act, that we have a sort of a skill test in order to get a license. That would be the
another thing. I think Vipul, I think license can be issued by this is a kind of a law act, through an act. Maybe a central government, maybe state government, maybe municipal corporation, some government body can issue a license. But registration can be done by even private company also. That
another word is empanelment.
That can be empanelment, and registration is almost a similar kind of a thing, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So in general, how much a structural engineer charges for his work based on square feet or lump sum? People?
Usually it's a there's a very big sticky point. People say one thing but do another. That's the preamble first.
What is the ideal situation? What should be there?
We have actually gone through some kind of an exercise also on this in the past. So, for example, the fees for a small project would be much larger on a per square foot basis and perhaps lump sum, as compared to a very large project where the fees would be much smaller. So it depends on the size of the project, the complexity of the project. For example, a building may have base isolators or high tech things like dampers or tuned mass dampers or whatever, with those kind of things. It takes another level of qualification to do those. So those may have a much higher fees than a run-of-the-mill project. Then you may have a reputation in a development, and you may factor in some repetitive. You may have 3-4 identical tasks, for example. So the engineers may say, well, I'll do for one, and I'll reflect that in my fees. I'll reduce my fees to reflect the reduced effort. So it varies. But
it can be,
but for very large projects, it's usually per square foot. For small projects, it's a lump sum.
So can we work out the fee on the cost basis, with the cost depending on the cost of the project, percentage basis,
well,
on man-hour basis we can work out the fee?
No, because the market forces dictate all that. So it is not in our hands to say that we would like to do it. We'll only be making, a pie in the sky kind of a thing. it is more of a fantasy world to say that we'd love to. It used to be that way, that people would charge a percentage of the fees. But now, if you go to some the clients, they'll scorn you for doing that. It's no longer the percentage in buildings. It's usually a per square foot basis, and that's how it is.
But ultimately,
Unless it's an iconic.
Per square feet also comes from the cost only ultimately.
Not really. It does not come from the cost. It can be a very expensive thing also, but it doesn't, unless it's an industrial project. We are talking about projects in metropolitan cities, which are usually either commercial or residential, high-rise buildings and or institutional buildings. Everything comes out of
Yes.
usually.
It will vary. So, Tandon Saab, can you answer this question, because this question seems to be related to the buildings?
No, I think the same thing I would say is also applicable to bridges. I mean, there is no set formulae or something like that. Many people have tried. I think we have also got something which is on proof consultancy, if I recall correctly. We have made a recommended recommended fee for various types of projects, etc. for proof consultants. That document already exists. That document actually is very valuable because it also indirectly gives you what the fee should be. If you read it carefully, and it has helped us, at least in some cases, that, they, like, for example, if there are repetitions, which people talked about, that is a very tricky issue. When you have an identical set of buildings, let us say you are making a township, and it has got identical buildings. The question is that would be definitely governed by some kind of a formula that your efforts in succeeding after the first one are going to be less and less. But in the case of bridges, for example, we run into a lot of difficulty. You've got a, let us say, a 3 kilometer or 4 kilometer long bridge, and it has got similar spans. Now the question is that is that formula which you apply for in the case of let us say a township, is that applicable to that or not? There is no clear agreement, but definitely.
If I may interrupt, it was like when you talk about these repetitions, I have my own views, but this is not necessarily the view of everybody. It's the view of many people I have also spoken with, because our fees is not only dependent upon our effort. Remember, we have liabilities also.
Yes.
The liabilities is never doesn't have a same thing like your reputation. Okay, if you have 4 towers, you have 4 times the liability. Okay, the chances of anything going wrong becomes 4 times also. So it is you have to run a business also, and also you have the thing is, actually speaking, there is no reputation.
Manoj, may I come in?
Though anybody has said that there should be, there's reputation. At the end of the project, we have actually made 4 drawings for 4 towers. Really, because the extended basements are there these days. In the and also different. They have retail spaces in one tower. They don't have retail spaces in another tower. You have double height in one tower. You don't have double heights in the other tower. So there are minor. Above the typical, everything will be same. But in the lower parts and the upper parts, there will be differences. As it connects to the basement, you're supposed to also model part of the basement in the tower. And those models will be different. And there's walls over there which you don't envisage that you'll be, which will be non-repetitive.
Alok, now your view.
Actually, factually speaking, it's a trap.
Yes, true.
Yeah, so So I just want to make it very brief. I agree with Vipul that it has to be finally, it is market driven. Whatever you write, we have written in our document, IAS structure document on proof checking, as Professor Tandon mentioned, but nobody follows those kind of guidelines. They are ideal situation. But the one thing is there which I would like to emphasize, that ultimately, though it is market driven, it does not drive on the minimum always. Based on my 40 years experience, I am telling you, ultimately, it depends whether you are seeking, you are sought after, or you are seeking. I mean, you see, for example, in film industry, a top-notch hero, Shah Rukh Khan, will not get the same thing as another hero. It is market-driven, but at the same time, it depends on the kind of service that you provide, what is your background, how much of credentials you have created for you. And I think as a structural engineer, even if the market drives you to go for a lower fee, my advice would be that you must take care of yourself, your professional liability, think in the long run and quote. But once you get a job, you have to give a quality service, a service which is more than what is expected by the client. With this philosophy, I think you will be sought after rather than you are seeking, and that makes a big difference. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Mr. Mohammed, you must have got the answer, because there is no unanimity on how to determine the fee and what should be the fee. It will really depend upon the type of the project, size of the project, complexity of the project, time it is going to take, how much risk is involved, and how much liability is involved, what is your background, whether you are seeking the job or you are in demand. So, okay. So it depends on so many things, and there is so much of the variation in the fee. So that is that. Okay, so next is what important factors to be considered while issuing a structural stability certificate. I think that has already been answered by Dr. Abhay Gupta earlier, because see, only thing I want to say is that many municipal corporation, local bodies, they have different set of patterns of forms of different types of certificate forms, and you cannot devise your own certificate forms. Basically, you have to sign on those forms only, and those forms have so many mistakes, so many problems for the structural consultants, because most of the time we as structural are only designing, we are not supervising. So we must ensure that whatever we are signing, if we have not done anything which is written in that form, either we should do something, we should either cut it from the form or something, because we should not sign anything which we have not done. That is important. Another thing is that there was one question in the chat box also. See, National Building Code of India has given the certain forms, standard forms of structural stability certificates. So basically, those are the forms which have been evolved after a lot of discussions in the committees. And IAS structure is also part of that. So we have also contributed in that. But the problem is most of the municipal corporations are not following those, not using those forms. They have modified the forms according to their interest and their requirements. So this is a problem. But ultimately, the important thing is that you should take care. You should not sign anything which you have not done. That is the most important thing. Okay. Next question. Okay, this is supporters requirement of getting membership is difficult in Mumbai. I think we have answered this question regarding supporters. No application will be rejected because there is no supporter, but we will help you in getting the supporters. Besides, there is no Mumbai office where all formalities can be done, completed, including payment. So it can be done online. We have a secretariat which is quite responsive. You can call them, you can email them. Yes, we do not have any office in Mumbai or anywhere else, but we have our vice president in Mumbai. Mr. Umesh Raj Sirke is a vice president. You can get his contact numbers and you can contact him if you want any help. Otherwise, you can contact the secretariat. I am vying for subscription structure in DIAS, which is not so easily possible without membership as above. Yes. So SED is, Alok, is it not for non-members? I think SED, we are giving SED to all members free of cost. But right, for non-members, it is a price document. But you can get the SED, but on price. I think.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, you can get. If you are not a member, you can get SED. And if you can become the member, you will get a complimentary copy of it. That's all. But you can get the copy of SED on payment. You can contact Secretariat, you will get it. Okay, then general practice for any structural engineer is to apply for license at local municipality. Okay, yes. What advantage can your membership provide for obtaining such license? What are your criteria for eligibility for obtaining a see, we do not have any requirement for, we cannot help you in getting the license. You can get the membership ISTT, we have a requirement. But as Dr. Abhay Gupta, who is also a chairman of the membership committee, said that if you are satisfying the requirement of the eligibility of membership of ISTT, most likely you will satisfy the requirement of any getting license from any municipal corporation or local body. That is true. But our certificate may help you in getting that, but that will not ensure you in any case. Is there any standard format, standard document for of ISTT where minimum and maximum charge of consultancy have been quoted? I think this, no, we do not have any such document. We were trying to do that, but we have not been able to do that because of so many reasons. But in future, maybe we can come out with that. But
Manoj,
yes, sir.
I just wanted to add here that we have a document. In fact, we have a document which is guideline for proof checking of building and bridges, where there is a recommendation of fee, recommended fee for both proof checking, and indirectly you can get also for the, because it is given in terms of percentage of the fee of the consultant. So indirectly you can work out from
indirectly
there
you can
also.
get it. Yeah, okay. So you can get that document that is also available from Secretariat. On website also, I think it will be available.
You see, I just want to add the. I mentioned that it has helped us in one or two cases. People may not recognize that document. They may not even agree to the fees that is given there. But it is a good starting point to discuss. You have to start from somewhere. You have to quote a fee, and you can say that we are quoting a fee from this ISTT, and this is what it comes to. And then it will depend on the ability you have for negotiation, and of course, like Alok said, that it depends on what kind of a wicket you are on. Are you seeking or are you being sought after?
Yes.
So these type of things then start mattering. But that is a very good starting point for at least start the ball rolling.
Yes, definitely it helps actually. There was one document. There's one document.
You have not brought a figure from the, from nowhere you are saying. I mean, say that, okay, this is the document, I am quoting this fee. That is the starting point.
Yes. Okay, next question, Vikas. Okay, so now we have some questions which have been listed in question answer box. So just let's see. The format of the Krishna Sahakari, the format of the stability certificate is as per building bylaws, with structural engineer has no option. True. This format is given in the building bylaws and you have to follow that. You do not have any option. It is true. So basically what you have to do, if you feel that there is something written in this form where, for example, you have not supervised the building, that was not in your scope. So you just cut that line, that you just sign on the paper where it is written design, if you have not done the supervision. I think that is the only thing you can do, or you can refuse to sign, or that's all. Chartered engineer, professional engineer membership, I don't know what is the meaning of that. Rahul Kumar Das. So basically, institution engineers issue a chartered engineer certificate. They also do the professional engineer membership. But the thing is, I have seen that this chartered engineer certificate given by institution engineer is looks to be quite useful, because in some of the places, this will allow you to sign the stability certificate. So similar way, this professional engineer certificate may also help you in some, I do not know. Alok may tell you more about that. Alok, do you have any benefit of getting professional engineer certificate from institution engineers?
Yes. Yeah, I can, though not always, it is not, but I have been benefited. Actually, I am an international professional engineer with Institution of Engineers India. And in one of the project in Bangladesh, they wanted that only an international professional engineer can sign. So that came to my benefit, and therefore the organization approached us, and we had to review that. So commercially, also it has benefited me. But just because I was an international professional engineer, I haven't got any benefit so far of my chartered engineer institution of engineers.
Okay, so
It's very commonly said in the UK at least that getting a chartered engineer certificate usually helps you get a job. That's the most biggest benefit.
No, Vipul, the ecosystem in UK on structural engineers, chartered engineers is entirely different from the ecosystem that we are living in India. In fact, I can tell you in UK, the civil engineers are very highly respected in the society. I mean, almost in all the major buildings and bridges, they write the names of the structural engineer who has designed. And MI Structi is something very, very sought after, and nobody can practice there and sign the drawings without the MI Structi and chartered engineer. I mean, PE has really value there, and you have to continuously update every 5 years.
okay, so answer
religiously followed.
Okay, Alok. So answer to this question is that you should try to get these certifications. They may help you sometime somewhere. Okay, that is the only thing we can say. Sukhbir Singh Man is saying, suppose there are 10 types of certificates being issued for structural stability. Is it possible for IS Structi to draft some format which can be sent to all engineering department for comments and concurrence? See, we have tried it in past. Ultimately, whatever is there in the National Building Code of India, that is also from the contribution of IS Structi only. And I don't think there is any problem with that form which is given the National Building Code of India. Only thing is municipal corporations are not following that. So we have to make effort in that direction. So Mr. A.S. Khurana is saying with the liability issue, there could be a tendency by some structural engineers to provide reinforcement more than that required. How can we advise the structural engineers to avoid such practice? Vipul?
Yeah, so I'll narrate you an experience, from this is from the US, where earlier, they used to publish in the newsletter the reprimands, so to say, on structural engineers. So one such case I remember from quite a few years ago. There was somebody who provided some extra material, exactly like what you're saying. In other types of construction, they had not done the proper calculations and they had provided some extra steel or whatever. Okay, so they actually reprimanded that engineer in terms of some minimum fine, as well as told them to go attend some extra classes because they had not used due diligence, or they were not skilled to calculate the exact number. And therefore it landed up that they acted unethically and they made the owner pay extra because of their lack of skill or diligence. So this, it can go to that level. We are way below that. I think at this time we have a long way to go before we can, anybody can reprimand to that extent. But even that is also seen through that prism.
Manoj, if I can add something.
Yes, Alok.
I think the reverse question could be more relevant. Well, there is how do you prevent, under design if there is no liability? And that is also very prevalent.
Yeah, actually, if you have an under design situation, then there is some, this is what some people will, say that it's God lives in India. But there's an inherent, there are hidden strength in the structure also. There are factors of safety in a way we could say, and so on. So if you are within that, then it's fine. But if you are grossly incorrect, then things go terribly wrong. Okay, and those are the rare situations that you see collapses also happen.
No, but you see, Vipul, as a structural engineer, you cannot eat away the margin of safety which is prescribed.
You can't. I'm not putting a seal of approval of my approval on your statement. I'm just saying that that will create a liability. And like I said, any time that if you go through a structural audit which is mandated by law somewhere, and the building is already built, it will be to your charge theoretically. Unless you have insurance or something, it will be your personal liability.
Yeah, okay. I think we have answered this question. Is there a tie-up of IS-Structi with IC UK or IS-Structi UK? So basically, we have MOU with both of the organizations. Or any other mutually recognized, but we do not have any agreement for mutually recognized membership. So ultimately, you have to take the membership separately. But yes, we have a MOU for sharing knowledge and organizing activities and all those things.
We have already organized an event.
Yeah.
Manoj, we
have already organized an
event, climate change.
Yeah.
And also with we have with Japan Society of Seismic Isolation.
Yeah. We have with many more.
As well as the Structural Engineers Association of Northern California.
Yes, true.
And we have organized seminars with them.
Yeah, we are actively engaging with them. We are actively engaging with them, but not membership is not mutually recognized. Okay, maybe in future it may be, but it will take time. Sitanam Agarwal is saying, are we going to have some certificate course in advanced structural engineering for practicing engineers, an academy? Are we going to have some certificate course in advanced structural engineering for? I don't think we are not planning any such thing. Tanda Sahab, are we planning?
No, I think that this is really the job of the educational institutions. And there are so many opportunities now which are available. Even you can do a part-time MTech, and there is really no need for us to duplicate something that the educational institutions are doing. But where we come into the picture is to advise the educational institutions, and some of us are on their boards and so on, where we tell them.
Next question is,
we go through what is their syllabus, how many credits they are taking, in what subjects, etc., and for them to be relevant in after they get out of the institution. There we can help, but
I think we also have student memberships in various colleges. So that's an opportunity where we can also put our stamp of approval, where the college gives a degree to them that they have, and they have, let's say, attended some of our coursework also, that we do issue that some certificate based on that.
So yes, so basically we are not entering, we do not intend to enter into the educational area field.
Yeah. So we are giving many
So another question from Sitanam Agarwal is that shouldn't we have a system like, I think he's thinking about AMI, something AMI like thing. No, I don't think we are thinking on those lines, but just I wanted to say that we are exploring the possibility of starting some kind of a certification of structural engineers, or starting a chartered structural engineers, something like that, based on written examination and interviews similar to the one which IS-Structi UK has. That we are already, we have a committee under the chairmanship of Professor Prem Krishna, and they have come out with a background paper. And I think we are in the advanced stage of doing that. So that we plan to do, but not in the education area. We are not entering. So another question is, what is the difference between chartered engineer and the professional engineer? I do not know. Alok, can you answer this question? I do not know much about that.
I think they are same. I mean, in some countries, they call chartered engineer, and they are also called as professional engineers. Essentially, it means basically, those degree holders or post-graduation holders having professional competence through practice, through training, and through qualification. So some countries they call chartered engineer. I don't know whether there is any difference. I don't think
So
so.
basically, this chartered engineer profession, this is a certification that you have achieved a certain particular level of competency, and now you are competent.
Basically, yeah, basically it is a license to practice. I mean,
Kind of
once you
license to
are,
practice, but the thing is, the institution of engineer or these bodies are not recognized by the government. So
that's correct. It is not recognized by,
so this certification is also not as such recognized by people. As
right. Yeah, it is a license given by the professional association, but may not be recognized by the government.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Ashutosh. What are the general type of interaction programs, events planned for ISTT members? Are there city chapters? How is the interaction between members of at chapter level planned? I think this is a very good question. So yes, we see we have our setup is that we have headquarter, we have 4 regional setups. Then we also have a state center like Gujarat State Center, like the Telangana State Center. We also we can also have a city center, but at present I don't think we have any city center. But our requirement is that if any city or have a minimum 10 members in a particular city, then we can start a city or local center, we say that. And then they can organize event independently, like the state center can organize independently, regional centers can organize events independently. So yes, but generally we organize technical events. We also organize. I think by interaction you mean some kind of a get together or some kind of a networking events basically. So basically, yeah, you are right. We should do more on that because of the pandemic and all those things. We are not organizing all these events. But yes, I think we should organize that. Tanda साहब आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
Ashutosh, actually Ashutosh is from Indore, Ashutosh Kutumble.
Okay.
And I discussed this issue earlier also in our governing council also, that Indore has a group of almost 100 structural engineers having a local body in the name of Association of Structural Engineers Indore, ASE. And somehow if we can motivate or you can convince them to become part of IA Structi, then we will have a Indore chapter kind of the thing itself. And Ashutosh is very active structural engineer from Indore. His father Srinivas Kutumble ji, you might have heard his name, SS Kutumble, very active structural engineer, the founder also of the AAC Indore. So maybe we can take up that initiative of having at least 10 members of IA Structi and forming a local chapter of Indore with Ashutosh taking lead there. Maybe I can guide him also.
I think we can discuss this matter separately. Yes, we are open to all those kind of a thing, and I do agree that we should specifically networking activities and all those things. We should do that.
Manoj, I just wanted to sort of mention here that though we are not doing it of late in last 2 years, but recently in last month, I think in Mumbai, there was a field visit organized for the Mumbai Trans-Urban Link project by the Vice President of West, Mr. Raj Shirke. Yeah. And it was very well received. People who visited, they enjoyed, and it was a lot of learning. So, but we need to do it more frequently and at large number of places. I think wherever we get such opportunities, we should do it. I think let us put it in our agenda.
Yeah, right. I think this is very good. This was a good question. And now we have a question from Shrikant. Why not pressurize the MHRD to modify the title from Engineers Bill to Professional Civil Engineers Bill, as other engineers are not eager to have this bill. Second part is we should influence upon the Government of India or BIS to make NBC as mandatory instead of recommendatory. Third, competence of structural engineers shall be all competence of civil engineer plus the structural engineer. A clarification from BIS is required as it is being asked at PBMP, Bangalore. Okay, so there are three questions actually. First one is that why not pressurize MHRD to, or Education Ministry that they should focus for civil engineers bill instead of the engineers bill. Tandon sir? I think I think
You see,
your answer is same because they are not interested in any bill actually at present.
No, no. I think that once this new education policy business it really comes into force and they have these various verticals, we are going to approach them. But what this gentleman has said is absolutely right. Even if you look at the US, although they have a lot of professional engineers, but really speaking, out of that, about 70 or 80% of them are only civil and structural engineers. And all the others put together constitute this, minor kind of a percentage. But still, the at the moment it is gone by the title of engineer's bill. Let us at least get that, whatever whichever direction the train is moving, let's not derail that. Let's keep going and at least have an engineer's bill. And after that, we will see what to do. But if you now start.
Yeah, another important question is we should influence upon the government of India BIS to make NBC as a mandatory instead of the recommendatory. So I think I have discussed this matter with Sanjay Pant several times, but I don't think they can do it actually. They say all standards are actually recommendatory. And they can become mandate. They are made mandatory by the government departments or by the local bodies in their bylaws. When they are notified, they become mandatory. Otherwise, that. Another thing is that they say that even the municipal corporation, local bodies, when they are basically their bylaws are also based on National Building Code. They say that they should not modify it, or if they are modifying it, then they should have a justified reasons to modify it. Because they say National Building Code is a model code to follow. It is not a code for violation. If you are violating any provision of or changing any provision of the National Building Code of India due to some reasons, then you should have some valid reasons to change it due to the local conditions, due to geography, or due to any reason. You should have some reason to modify the requirement. Otherwise, you should follow that. Their line of thinking is that BI's line of thinking is this. So I don't know legally whether they can do it or not. I think they cannot.
I think on the structural stability certificate where it says that the RERA form, it says that all the current BIS standards, relevant BIS standards, shall be followed with up to amendments and everything. That is also
when RERA says that it becomes mandatory. It means that
then it becomes mandatory. Yeah. But at the same time, one has to also recognize that is also a trap actually for structural engineers, because today, let's say the code changes, like it changed, let's say in 2016, the new code came in, and I signed in 2017 a structural stability certificate that it complies with 2016, but I started to design in 2012. So how can I make it really comply with the 2016 code when all the systems and everything has been designed as per the 2002 code? So you see, there's it's a trap. The client will not accept anything but the signature on the RERA form.
Yes.
Unrealistic signature. That means the day the building is finished.
इसका एक ही आंसर है मेरे पास कि we as a civil engineer or structural engineer should be involved in the policy making level. That is utmost important. Otherwise, ये हमारा decision सारा जो है ना non technical लोग लेते रहेंगे या वो लेंगे those who have vested interest, and we will always be dictated by them, and we will be in trouble. So we should aspire to be at the policy level. I think that is the most important thing. Okay, next third question is competence of structural engineer shall be all competence of civil engineer plus a structural engineer. A clarification from BIS is required. I think it is given in the code that NBC that civil required qualification and competence of civil engineer is given and of the structural engineer is given. So basically what I think you are trying to say in the question is that since a structural engineer is also a civil engineer as per the National Building Code, and they say you must have a 3 years of experience in structural engineering design. So then you become a structural engineer. But for a civil engineer, they are not specifying that kind of a experience. So I think you are trying to say that a structural engineer can do all the work which a civil engineer can do as per. So I think that can be done. I think that is okay. That is quite implied from the bylaws, but you need this clarification from BIS. So I think BIS can give that clarification. We can write to the BIS regarding that. Okay, we can write to the BIS, I think. Okay, next question from again Shrikant is I think member of active member of ACC. As per the data, there are 98.4% of the buildings falls under the category of the low-rise buildings. But our codes building bylaws only focus only on high-rise buildings. This is unfair as natural calamities have same effect. Okay, Vipul.
Yeah. Well, actually, there are prescriptive codes, provisions for low-rise buildings which are being built by the unorganized sector, you could say. And in fact, even in the DMA now, there are, I was in fact talking with some professor at DTU, and they were saying that they are teaching the local departments to evaluate low-rise buildings, to some standards, which is, they will check it as per the prescriptive standards. Okay. So like masonry code so far has been very prescriptive that if you have 1 or 2 story building, then you have lintel bands and you have, you have corner bars and so on. So if those are there, then you don't need to have formal calculations. So those kind of provisions are there, and technically speaking, every building which is built should follow those. Now, if the local authorities are lax on implementing these kind of codes when any structure is coming up, that is not the fault of the structural engineering community, I think. We have to ensure that the country has to ensure that there is transparency, there's honesty, everything in the departments. And for that, we have to pick leaders who will enforce that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but I agree with Shrikant that yes, I agree that we most of the time talk about high rise and we do not talk about.
No, there's a lot of talk and discussion about, we don't in our association, because those are prescriptive standards and there's
Yes.
you can do about them. They are based on testing also. So it's not that they are just because they're prescriptive that they're not based on sound principles and all that. So they are based on tests which have been conducted by reputed institutions and laboratories. So, and professors and engineers, everybody's thoughts have gone into that. So that it's not that, but there's very little to discuss on that. It's prescriptive. And we do discuss that when there are problems.
Okay, so right. Again, the next question is from Shrikant. He's a very active person. He is also asking, we need to conglomerate all the like-minded associations with these issues and showcase the same to the government of India. We need to chalk out concrete steps to take them seriously. Let's not leave this kind of uncontrolled regime for our future young people. Yeah, true. I do agree. And yes, Shrikant, I know you are very active in ACC. So let's collaborate and do something. We are at ISTT. We are always open to collaborate and to take joint action on such issues. We fully agree with you. Then we have a question from Hussain Matkawala for upgrading membership from student member to an associate member, is there upgrading member from student member to an associate member? Is there any tenure to serve for student membership? Then only we are eligible for associate member, or directly we can apply for that. Experts, please throw a light on this aspect. Abhay Gupta ji, I think you can answer this question, being the chairman of this committee. वो कह रहे हैं कि आप स्टूडेंट मेंबर हैं, तो कि स्टूडेंट मेंबर से हमें एसोसिएट मेंबर बनना है, तो इज देयर एनी मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट दैट वी शुड बी स्टूडेंट मेंबर फॉर सम मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ इयर्स, और वी कैन डायरेक्टली अप्लाई फॉर एसोसिएट मेंबर?
You can directly apply for associate member provided you fulfill the criteria required for associate membership. As such, there is no provision of upgradation from student to associate. See, student membership is a different class of the membership. It is primarily to motivate, encourage students to get inducted with the professional practice. And associate membership is basically to a full-fledged structural engineer who is budding, and then we are inducting him into the profession, into the association. So there are two different classes. Basically, it is a transition. There is no upgradation kind of thing between student to associate membership.
Yeah, you will not become automatically. You will not become the associate member. You have to apply separately, and
You remain as a student member.
For associate membership, there is no requirement of being the student membership member.
So
you
the day you have completed your studentship, your student membership ceases.
Yeah.
Maybe actually that's a good thought, that you can have a little leeway in our associate member requirement. You need only one supporter, and if you have been a student member, and two.
Yeah, I think these are good suggestions. I think this was the idea of having this kind of interaction. So I think we should take up these suggestions, and we will try to modify this requirement. We can reduce the number of supporters requirement for associate member, and if somebody was a student member, then we should further relax some do the requirement for associate member. Yeah, I think we can think of this.
We'll discuss those things.
Yeah. So next question from Piyush Gupta. He is asking to calculate the total built I don't know what it is.
Built up area.
Plinth area also be included. I think this is a kind of this question is not suitable for this kind of a forum. I think Piyush, you can ask this question separately. I will answer you. Okay. Then can one, same from Piyush Gupta, can one send the link of fee calculation doc on ISTACTI website? I think that Alok, you were mentioning proof checking document.
Yeah, we have two documents. They are already there, I think.
That document Piyush already has. I think Piyush, you had that document authored by me under the banner of ISTACTI. If you remember, he is my ex-employee.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm sure that he's aware of that document, and you can buy that document from ISTACTI also. It's nominal cost. I think kitna 200 rupees शायद. नहीं 1000 है for non-member.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And for members कम है.
Yeah.
So Piyush, you can become a member first and then buy this document.
हाँ, Piyush member होना चाहिए. Piyush was a member when he was our employee. I remember.
Okay, so
I don't know whether it's
now,
continued.
I think I have covered all the questions, whatever I had. Now we have something in the chat box I'm reading. Somebody is saying that Ashutosh is saying it's a great privilege to listen to the stalwarts. Somebody is saying it's a good afternoon. Then somebody is saying okay. We make all structural, including high strength and parallel. Okay. Then I too don't have any reference person. Still, I can be member of association. Rakesh Kumar is saying, I too don't have any reference person supporter. Can I become the member? Okay, you send the application and we will help you in getting the supporter, Rakesh Kumar. Then Mr. Ajay Kumar and Mr. Rakesh, you may contact. So this question has already been answered. Mr. Achyut Ghosh is our Vice President East. He is saying, my dear President, can ISTACTI develop a draft stability certificate under the chairmanship of Dr. Abhay? I think we can develop it, but the thing is, we have already contributed in developing that certificate while National Building Code was under the revision. But if we feel that that certificate which is there in the National Building Code is not suitable, we can suggest some modification into that. Abhay, you can see to that if there is some problem in that form. आप देख लो नेशनल बिल्डिंग कोड में जो दिया हुआ है वो सुटेबल नहीं है क्या? अगर वो है तो ठीक है, क्योंकि इसमें हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन था उसके अंदर, क्योंकि उसमें मिस्टर मेहरा वाज देयर, मिस्टर महेंद्र राज वाज देयर इन द कमेटी एट दैट टाइम. सो आई थिंक देयर वाज, उसको हमने आईएएस टेक्निक में डिस्कस भी किया था. तो आई थिंक व्हाटएवर वी हैव सेंट दे हैव अडॉप्टेड दैट ओनली. तो स्टिल इफ वी हैव सम प्रॉब्लम वी कैन मॉडिफाई इट, वी कैन सजेस्ट टू देम. आई थिंक दे विल डू इट.
Sure.
It is not very
I think
difficult
that
to
point that I had mentioned is a very important point where we have to commit the code to which we design before the building is built, and then stick to that. Because when the building, it could take time and there could be a code change. You can't retrofit every building like that.
अब उसको अभी देख लो एक बार.
Sure.
But it is not very difficult to get it changed in National Building Code. Okay, then can we really get the engineer's bill passed someday? Yes, we should try. Charge rupees, charge is rupees 200 in per square feet or anything simple. Please answer. Okay, charge is rupees 200. This Aman Modi is writing, charge is 200 in rupees per square feet or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, well, actually, I think he wants to get an order of magnitude. So,
Okay.
Very roughly, people are charging anywhere between 2 rupees and 6 rupees a square foot. Generally speaking, there's such a huge range. It could be more for specialized structures. Depends on how much the structural engineer's skill is required for the project and so on. So there's so many things to be looked at. Or if it's a very small project, like I said, it could be a very lump sum kind of a figure. You can't really say.
Ramnath Bhatt is saying, thank you, sir. It was an amazing webinar on structural engineering. Okay. Motivation webinar, good webinar. Okay. Then I think that's all. So if anybody has any question, they can ask.
There is in the Q&A box, there is a question which has not been answered.
Okay. Okay. When is the next IF 456 likely to come? I think it is coming. I think it will take.
I think it will take a year and a half.
Yeah, it will take a year and a half.
1.5 years. 1 to 1.5 years.
Okay, there's one more question. I think before that. This thing, built up area calculation is for our fee calculation, or some of the consultants don't consider plinth area, they just take slab area. So this question is valid for this meet, sir. Piyush Gupta is saying. See, basically, if you ask me, I don't like the square feet or something. Ultimately, you just ask the fee which you want. Actually, that may be lump sum, that you can convert into square feet, that you can convert in built up area, that you can convert to slab area, that you can convert in percentage basis in whatever manner you want. But you should charge the fee you want. You should not work at a fee which is not feasible for you, and whatever fee you charge, you should do good job, professional job. If you will charge low fee, you will not be able to do good work. Don't work on the lower fee. Work less, but work at a good fee. This is my suggestion. Okay, so if there's any other question, because there's no question in the chat box or question answer box, and I have finished all questions. So if there is any question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will ask my panelists to say closing remarks one by one.
So Mr. Sitaram Agarwal sir and Mr. Sirikant S channel has raised.
हाँ, उनको वो कर दो. Ask them to they can ask question. Sitaram Agarwal ji.
Yeah, I think वो पैनल में आ गए हैं.
हाँ, बताइए सीताराम जी. श्रीकांत
म्यूट में है सर.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Yes, I have unmuted myself. Nothing so particular. It was thankful to all. My only question was, which I still feel that we should have some kind of academy where we should, inculcate educational field. I mean, I'm just going to repeat what I have written in a little while ago. IS Structi is an institution of structural engineers on the path of Indian Institution of Engineers going to conduct its specialized courses in advanced structural engineering of our country, not only for major projects of our, I should say, nation, for our nation in view of stability with the confidence, but also to create highly technically sound resource in India. This will avoid a lot of foreign exchange outgo by getting specialized projects in India itself. We conduct special courses and we had been doing it online through online conferences with experts from India and abroad for upgrading the members' knowledge and structural competence and help the Indian plethora for designing safe and stable complexes, housing, utilities, commercial spaces. And I'll just complete within 1 minute. And infrastructure projects. Because what I attended yesterday, infrastructure projects conference, the association was founded by Mr. Mahendra Raj, a renowned structural consultant who was associated since independence of India with Charles Correa and other personalities for construction of Chandigarh, Pragati Maidan structures, airports and others. Considering earthquake resilient frames and bodies, it was his vision to make India a self-sufficient body and safe, stable and robust structures with coordinated teams in sympathy with Indian culture and ethos. That's basically my, this was, I'm starting writing so that we get a plot of land. My main focus is that we should have.
Sitaram, you are already a governing council member. You just make a proposal and we can discuss in governing council meeting.
No, but my point was institution and association. There is a little difference. Because if we say that ours is an institution, so I am trying for institutional plot. That's all.
See, the thing is, I think in many countries, there is a system of getting continuing education units, and continuing education is extremely important in our industry, as we all know. And we can tie up with some colleges and say that the course that we are offering, this is the curriculum, this is the faculty. Will you accept 3 credit units, 1 credit unit, whatever semester unit there is as a part of your curriculum? Okay, I think that may be a way forward. And then, instead of offering the whole degree, we are offering a course which is accepted by some colleges.
No, we are not. I'm not asking for course. I'm asking for a refresher, specialized expert knowledge, like we go above textbooks. Our study is with the practicing engineers.
No, once our courses are recognized by universities, then we can be called an institution rather than.
I think we can discuss this thing in detail in our DC meeting, because Sitaram ji already apne council ke hain, so we can discuss this matter there. Today,
am I audible? I am Srikanth from Bangalore.
Yeah, Srikanth ji, bataiye. Yes.
Sir, good evening to all, and I am very happy to listen to all of our stalwarts, role models. Thanks for today's this meeting kind of a thing. In fact, you were always mentioning that from ACCA. In fact, I am participating as a member of IS Structi.
No. I know that, but still I know that you are very active there.
Okay, thank you. The only issue that I would like to mention here is NBC has dealt with almost all the facilities that a civil engineer or a structural engineer need to have the professionalism in any of the development projects. However, the implementation of the NBC has become a big issue, because we are trying our level best here at our local level, but unable to make it. What even we discussed with BBMP officials, why you are not making this NBC compulsory? I mean, except this zonal regulations, the other professional parts and the codal parameters. What they are telling is, why don't you make representation at the BIS or the government of India to make it like that? So the question is that way. That is why you are very much well placed at Delhi, but we have already written from ACC that this one is that clarification, another one is making that BIS mandatory. But still, I think you can make your Delhi good offices to influence upon those people and give the representation. If anything is required from our side, you please tell us. I can even represent ACC in this.
So you have written to the BIS?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you send the copy of that letter?
Yeah, I can send it, sir.
Okay, you send the copy of the letter, we will follow it up.
Yes, sir. Then another point, I think you have mentioned, or Bhumik have mentioned, I don't know, our representation in development or advisory boards is very much essential in planning commissions of the state level and also at the central level. Because what has happened is they are taking us for granted. The other, government civil engineers are already there, but they are never bothered about what is required and what is not required. So that is where we are failing. Although our brothers are there, they are not taking that much interest the way we are thinking at. So I think that is a very good point, and we need to take that at much higher level. So these are the few things I wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah, very true, very true. We will take care of that, and you just send me the letter of that, whichever you sent to the BIS, we will follow it up.
Okay, sir. I will do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, there's one more question I think we have received. Local state government body won't follow the NBC regarding format of stability certificate. Why there is no rule for this? Simple, because National Building Code is still a recommendatory code, so they just modify it. Although they do not have any such any logic behind that, but they can do that because it is not mandatory to follow at present. So I think we have completed all the questions. So before I close this event, I think we should have a closing remarks from our all panelists in the reverse order. Reverse order, I mean those who spoke earlier first. Now we can take the reverse. Reverse order means Alok Bhomik can start.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. I think we had a great event. A lot of learnings for us, lot of takeaways, and we will have to sort of meet separately in the governing council and discuss and take it forward. And I'm sure in the process we have also given a lot of information about structural engineering practice. My only final comment would be that we would look forward to people or structural engineers joining our association and strengthening the association, because that will help us to further to take all the issues that challenges collectively in a much better way. The more the numbers, the better it is. As Manoj mentioned, we are choosy, though we are looking for membership, but then we are also choosy. But I'm sure we have, with the country with 1.25 billion people and so many structural engineers who are actually doing, we should be the only professional association in India taking the voice of structural engineers. Thank you.
Yeah. Then Dr. Abhay Gupta. Dr. Abhay Gupta, you have to also answer this question. Is there any SP code for steel detailing like SP 34? Somebody is asking that.
There is no SP code for steel detailing per se, but there are SPs on the steel design where some connection details are available. There is no separate handbook for the steel detailing like the SP 34.
Okay.
Now,
closing remark.
when there are some more developments are taking place in terms of steel. Like there is a separate seismic code being drafted for the steel structures. 1893 equivalent to 1893. There's one more. So maybe those things can also be considered by the committee. As far as my remarks are concerned, I have seen the response very encouraged response from all the participants, and probably we will see the benefits of this webinar soon when the queries of the structural engineers are addressed, and maybe we'll have to do another round after 3 months of the similar nature. Certainly, some of the very good suggestions that we have received, we'll consider them in the governing council so that the hurdles in the membership for the young ones are removed. As far as the structural stability certificate draft formats are concerned, there are already several, but as somebody has pointed out that there are so many, maybe we can think of coming up with some 3-4 at the different stages, pre-construction, post-construction. And then as NBC says, after so many years, so those kind of things we can do. So with that, I thank IS Tructee and all the participants and senior members who were part of the discussions. Thank you.
Vipul, thank you, Abhay. Vipul.
Thank you for such a great audience also, who has been very actively involved in this, to make this discussion a very big success. And I also thank like Dr. Abhay Gupta, my fellow panelists over here, and the association. And I think that I would consider this to be a greater success if we go away as more responsible structural engineers in the society and fully being aware of the liabilities that we are going to pick up on the way if we are not careful. And we should really protect ourselves, and the association also should will work towards, with the protection of its members and the and even non-members perhaps who are practicing in the profession. I think it's a very important change that we are witnessing in our lives, where we have a new act, and we have to be compliant with this. And so I think hopefully this change is taking the society towards a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipul. Tandon sir, Professor Tandon.
Thank you. I think it was very encouraging to see so many people interested in the future of the profession, not only whatever they are involved in as structural engineers, but we have to become a collective organization and a collective critical mass, if I may use that term, where we can make changes. And it is encouraging to see that at least something has been started. It is not only the governing council of IS Tructee that we should, that is supposed to be responsible for looking at these things. I think that looking at structural engineers and society together, that is what we have to aim. We have to produce leaders of the society who are structural engineers. I think that's when real change will come. Of course, one has to thank IS Tructee for thinking of this town hall meeting, and thank all the participants who have taken the time off on a Saturday afternoon to be here. I think that most of the things have been said, but some of the issues can be resolved only once we get the engineer's bill. Most of these things what we are talking about, especially the not so favorable things, those things can be resolved if there is a structural, if there is an engineer's bill, because then engineers at least will be recognized as a profession. Abhi to we are not even recognized. We are nobody. I mean, I remember when they, I think a few years ago, these people came, some of us are working from the building in which we are staying. Maybe it's a separate separate area, but that is what was allowed. But then somebody came to visit us and they said that structural engineer, well, who is a structural engineer? And that was shocking because they don't know who a structural engineer is. So one had to sign in as an architect that we are doing practice of architecture, so that we could get the permission of carrying on the practice that we have been doing for the last 40 years in the same premises, because they said that only recognized professions are allowed to have this kind of a arrangement where they part of the building in which they are staying is also used as an office. So much of these problems, I think, are rooted to the fact that we don't have an engineers act finally. Just like all the other professions, we must have that, and quickly. And we will be working on this the moment we come to know a little more about this new, what was that, new education policy 2020. We have been only reading it about in the newspapers, but we still don't have any idea about what it is. And we know that there is no longer a Ministry of Human Resource Development. The name has been changed to Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
So let us look at the future optimistically, because you have here really a profession which will give you immense satisfaction, and
Yes, sir.
it will give you a kind of satisfaction which you get only if you are doing something constructive, and that is what is, I think, the greatest characteristic of our profession. And I think that is what will attract people to structural engineers, irrespective whatever drawbacks it may have at the moment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tandon Saab, for closing remarks. So before I thank everybody and close this event, I just wanted to say that we have received many good suggestions, and we will take care of that, and we will discuss them, and we'll try to modify our system procedures to make it more simple for getting the membership. And idea of this town hall meeting was to get the feedback from the engineers and to address some of the queries. And I think we have been able to do that with the help of our panelists. And we also intend to organize many such town hall meetings in future, maybe on different issues. So we will keep this activity. And further, I just want to one more clarification, because Tandon Saab mentioned that that we do not have Engineers Act. Yes, true. And there are several like chartered accountants. He also mentioned the medical council, but he also mentioned the architects. See, the Architects Act is basically not the act to regulate the profession. So like it is very different from Chartered Accountants Act and other acts. Architects Act is only for the registration of the architects. It is not, it do not regulate the profession of architecture. So that is the basic issue, a difference between the Architects Act and the Others Act. So, but we need to have a Engineers Act, which should regulate the profession also, because this is the shortcoming of the Architects Act, because of which they are fighting with engineers and all other things, and they are misinterpreting and doing all kind of thing. So this is this. So now I would like to thank all my panelists and also all the participants who took time to participate in this event. They shared their queries, and we tried our best to answer these questions. And I'm sure it will bring good results in future. and I think it has taken around more than 2.5 hours for this event. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Tandon Sahab, let's close this meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Thank
think
you.
that let's.
Thank you, Manoj, for
Thank you very much.
wonderfully moderating.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Mittal.